Hello, Linda. How are you? Stop it. Don't make me laugh. Well, I'll tell you, while you're busy laughing, a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, so they say. And this arrived this week. Oops, let me see. There you are. The
Yes.
trap, David Icke. And it's very interesting because it costs £15. I'm not affiliated with this in any way. Because England is no longer in Europe, it no longer costs a fiver to deliver to Austria. It costs €15 to deliver. And if that ain't bad enough, there was £6 import duty to pay. Wait for it, because on the label it said it come from a third world nation. Ta-da! So my status has dropped from a European citizen to a third world citizen. You got to laugh at the stupidity of it all. You really have. So,
Are they doing this deliberately to us, though, Mike?
I
You
don't
know,
know.
there was, oh my God. Oh God. People's Twitter's accounts are now getting shut down for the most stupidest
Yeah.
reasons. You know, I'm absolutely gobsmacked where people now, we've totally lost our voice, which is so ironic for me tonight because I've had this now for about a week and I want to explain it to what it feels like. It feels like someone has got their hand on my throat and is squeezing. It's not sore like you do when, like when your tonsils get enlarged. It's not like that. It's like a swelling where someone's just gripping, and it's like an energy attack where someone has grabbed me by the neck and they're lifting me up. It's like that.
Yeah.
So I've got my little sucky drops here,
Got
and
your
I've got
gummies.
my water. Yeah, my gummies. Oh gosh, I'm living on my little throat gummies. Okay, here they are, my little throat gummies.
Yeah.
Soothers is the brand here in Australia. They're really look. They're little soft little juby things. Oops, I dropped it. But they're just so nice on my throat because they're made of lemon, and oranges. So if you see me tonight just like sucking away, please excuse me because I do have a kind of sore throat.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But is this an energy attack? You don't know because I do talk a lot. I will go there, but today I haven't spoken maybe half an hour all day. Because I've got a daughter, I've got my cat, and of course I've got to talk to the cat.
Of course.
Do you want your biscuits? Do you want to go to bed? But I do apologise for my throat this afternoon. Okay. Wow, it's all good.
Yeah.
At least I'm here. That's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, what I know is
Yes.
we are in this damn retrograde nonsense again, and this is throwing people emotionally upside down, and therefore it's a great opportunity for darker energies to latch on. So people to be careful about that. Yeah. So we just keep moving forward, Linda.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, Mike. We must remember to move forward.
Hmm.
This whole mess it's all falling apart for the negative ones now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the more, I was saying this to you off air, Mike. I was telling a lady this week, I was having a chat with a lady, and I said, I know a lady, Anna Knapp. Hello, darling. She always watches your show,
Hello,
Dal. Well, she'll watch it tomorrow morning when she wakes up. But she lives in Wisconsin, in the USA. Then there's me here in Australia. Then you've got you over in Austria. Then you've got someone else in like Russia, someone else in China, someone else in Croatia, someone else in France, someone else in Mexico, someone down in Portugal, someone over in Indonesia, So it's sort of like an interwoven knitting that we're creating, where we're creating these energetic connections all over the planet.
Right.
So if you are feeling alone, guys, think about somewhere that you've been that a lot of people would go to. Like the one I like is Stonehenge in the UK. So I've been to Stonehenge. Mike has probably been to Stonehenge.
I have indeed.
Other spiritual people have been there. So as soon as we throw our thoughts to Stonehenge, then we're connecting to other people who have been there, because their energy has also been there. The same as places like the Great Chinese Wall, you've got the White House, you've got Sydney Opera House, you've got all these other places around the planet where if you think about that specific area, you're creating that imprint, which is creating that weave of energy connection. And that's how we're going to get our energy all around this planet to where we are winning this war. Because as soon as we send them light and love, don't accuse, judge, or say, why did they do whatever they did? All we have to do is to say, I love you regardless, because I come in peace.
Yeah, and that love, it's important to understand. It's not the love from the lips and the human consciousness. It's a feeling from the heart, and therefore you don't have to. You bypass that three-dimensional fear energy and the self-limiting belief energy. Just open your heart to whatever it is you desire, and forget how evil these people are, because that's something we can't control anyway. But what we can control is the outcome we want, and we have the collective now, Linda. It's just that also talking about what you were saying, it actually doesn't matter if the collective isn't active. We have what's called the 100th monkey, and if anyone wants to look that up, the 100th monkey experiment, and eventually people will all start to do what is in the collective, because we're the one species. And I'm finally going to get to channel this from Joan, which she keeps nagging me to do now for next Tuesday, about this collective and the 100th monkey. This is why I keep bringing it up. So, and then we also have the possibility of, why could it be that some of these leading characters chose to come to the earth plane and take the bullet for humanity to be better? As I've mentioned before, Judas had to do what he did. He had to betray Christ in order to fulfill the prophecy. Jeanne d'Arc had to do what she did, and would be portrayed a terrorist today. So everyone had to do what they had to do. Can you imagine? Jeanne d'Arc is responsible for the death of many English soldiers, and imagine how those English families felt. But 500 years on, we got no attachment to it. The point is, though, that she would have been regarded as an evil person by the English.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
It's very complex.
And you look at any atrocity throughout history, people had to sign up to be the victims of those acts in order for people to realise how to be more compassionate and loving.
Yeah.
When we talk about World War II, with what happened there at Auschwitz, for example, we had to sign up and go through that, so that people would learn to not discriminate, to not judge others for who they were or what colour hair they were, because this is when it all started after the Jews. So, people had to perish. So what a hero would have signed up and said, I will take that and I will be remembered as one of the masses.
Yeah.
And that's what's, like now what's happening now, Mike.
Yeah.
It's in our news this week, so it's not me just fabricating this anymore. They can't understand why so many people all over the world now have got cancer. What's doing it?
They don't want to understand. But, well, I tell you, Linda, your voice is breaking up. Shall we get on with the show and hear what Katerina has to say? And we
Please.
go right. Okay, here we go. Let's run it.
Thank you.
Take two. Yeah. So this is our last recording from New York till God knows when. You're off to Italy or Sicily. And so we'll be hopefully recording down there. So, yeah. So
we'll get some nice tropical backdrops. Be nice to do it outside.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, yeah. But so a lot has happened this week in Europe, particularly England. I've had worse days in my life, but that was naughty, Michael. Stop it. Okay. So, Katerina, let's dive straight into this. What have we got first? Where are we going first of all?
Let's go to Greece, a lovely other island that I think was somehow connected to Sicily at some point in history, or I don't know. I'm sure we could trace it all back.
I'm sure.
Yes. But let's start out in a cave that in BC times there was a thief. It's Diwali Cave, and there was a thief named Diwali, but that's not his real name. His name was Christoph something, but that just was, I guess, his nickname, and the cave adopted it. And it was folklore has it that he would hide all his ill-gotten gain in this cave, all that he had robbed. But there was always like a shroud of mystery around it, because people say that even prior to that, it was a place of worship for Sitar Pan and his nymphs. So you could just imagine that, all that worshiping might have brought up some kind of paranormal activity. Then in 1977, the Greek government took it under construction to build something. Nobody's quite sure yet. It's all hush-hush. But they have speculated that it might have been nuclear arms or radar communication base. But today it's neither, apparently, and what it's really used for today is occultism and Satan worship. And they say, yes, that at this cave you see odd things happening, such as water going down uphill instead of downhill, and electronics never seem to work properly.
Remember, these old stones contain a lot of energy, a lot of memory. And could be a lot of residual energy that's maybe it's not so much spirit or demonic things going there, but under certain atmospheric conditions the same thing is played out. We call it residual energy, but yes, when water flows upstream, something's terribly wrong there, isn't there? There's something weird is going on, and it'd be interesting to see if any of these researchers have been there and done anything with it and had a look at it. I think you can get a feel when you step into a place if it's spooky or not,
Mm-hmm.
But
I think so.
yeah, but that's my view on that, and you can trust the government when they get involved. They'll sort it all out.
There's also one more thing about that cave I forgot to mention. There's also been sightings of some kind of cat creature, like a cat humanoid spirit that walks on two legs.
A bit of like the old Skinwalker Ranch Yeah, I will have to do a little story on Skinwalker Ranch. Massive goings on there. But anyway, that's for another time. What's on the agenda next?
Then there's a castle that was built in the 1700s by the Venetians as a garrison, a place to kind of keep an eye on people. That's in Crete, and it's called San Frangelico Castle. San Frangelis Castle. And what happens there is that a kind of, like you were saying with the storing of energy, perhaps, a kind of a battle is relived of the Greek Independence War in the 1800s, or since the 1800s. There was, they call them dewmen in English, the Darkalists in Greek. It's this soldier named Michael was one of the generals, and in the morning, that's why they call them dewmen. You see all these spirits of horses and army men just all around this castle. And it is said that it might be because their bodies remained unburied for years until a sandstorm, blew over from the beach and covered them finally. But yes.
It could be Greece's version of Gettysburg. There is a hell of a lot going on at Gettysburg, and it's really worth. I mean, I don't think that's far from you, is it? Terribly far from you?
No, a few hours.
Yeah, it might be worth a little investigation there.
Yeah,
Pop down there. Don't go at night though, Katerina. And that's the thing, ghosts and spirits don't just come out at night. You don't have to do a research in the middle of the night. You can do a haunted house research in the day. There'll still be activity there. But it's just that because they're light or light-ish, you will see them better in the dark than in the light. So anyway, and our final story.
Final story is also in Greece. Yes, it is another cave, and it's the cave most known for necromancy, conversing with the dead. It is at the point where 3 of the 5 rivers meet. It is called the Cave of Akron, and it was a place where Hades was worshipped and his wife. So you'd have people going there and partaking in activities like eating pork and beans and taking narcotic potions in hopes of communicating with the deceased. But now it has been turned in for quite a while now. It has become a temple for St. John the Baptist.
Bit of a turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that, I wonder, is it maybe because they took those narcotic potions that they might have believed that they were talking to their deceased loved ones?
Yeah, I mean, what I do know with things like ayahuasca and other sort of hallucinogenic drugs that I've never done it, by the way, but you do enter an altered reality. You enter another dimension, and let's be honest about this. The governments don't ban hallucinogenics because they're concerned about your health. I would sort of contest it's more to do with what you'll find out when you're in that different condition, that different state. So and of course, back in the day they had all that stuff, and we're in danger of losing that knowledge, but I don't think we will. So
good. Well, thank God.
So there we are. That's it for today, and we'll be I'll be broadcasting from Austria. You'll be broadcasting from Sicily. And maybe we get some scenic views. Maybe if you get the chance, we can do something about Sicily that's a little bit different.
Yes, I'll look into that.
Yeah, super. And so, until next week, what do we do?
Stay curious, my friends.
So there we are. So interesting stuff going. I mean, it's all over the world, isn't it? You know, these energies are all over the world, and I think, as we mentioned before, as the veil that separates the two worlds becomes thinner, and the dimensions are getting closer and closer together, we'll see more of this. And actually, I was talking about Jeanne d'Arc earlier on, and you know, she had 1 foot in the spirit world and 1 foot on the earth plane throughout her whole life, and she really couldn't tell the difference at some point between spirit or a human being. You know, she was just had 1 foot in each world, and nothing has changed, has it? From 400 years, 500 years on, people still see spirit. There's dark energies, light energies, in between energies. So it's interesting. So
that is right, you know, and it's good too that you also mentioned the ayahuasca in there, because it's now coming more advertised. I'll just say it like that. Becoming more common. The people now know what it is. You know, you look at the peyote that the Native Americans used to smoke. You know, nobody even really knew what that was until the movie Young Guns came out with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen in it. And they were smoking this really weird, crazy stuff that the Native Americans smoke, and they were all having these epiphany moments while they're under that intoxication. So ayahuasca, then you've got your like DMT type stuff that people talk about. And other hallucinogenics, whether it's mushrooms or narcotics. But we've all got these ideals of what happens when we're under that veil of those drugs, if you want to say. You know, you and I were both talking offline earlier about alcohol and smoking and stuff like that. And you know, I have drunk in my life, and I used to be a smoker. You know, it's now been about 4 months, 3.5, 4 months since I've had last a cigarette. And now that I've given away those addictions, which are toxic to my body, I've realised that my messages are now becoming more clearer. My visions are getting more clearer, and I'm having more psychic abilities occur than what they used to. And I used to, you know, 5 years ago when I'd say to people, oh, you know, I'm a psychic, I thought that was as good as it got. But now that I actually have given away those addictions, as well as clearing out my mind, meditating and being a more positive person, I'm on the way to what some would say was enlightenment. You know, I won't ever say I reach it, because there's always more to learn.
Of course there is.
But you know, the more that we try to connect, you know. So, yeah, it was very interesting when I realised that, you know, when I stopped, especially alcohol, because that does bring down our vibration into a very low, you know, and it depends too on how often you drink it as well, and the quantity, because it really does affect your mind and your opening up of your pineal gland, etc. Yeah, so it's interesting, Mike.
Okay, well, let's get on, because I can see time is pressing. Let's start with our statutory spooky, the moving cross and the haunted house. Let's go over this, see what you all think.
Our first clip of the day comes from the Instagram account Paranoid Normal. It shows a young boy filming a vlog when something strange begins to happen. Take a look.
Es la ternurita de Luana, o sea, las ternuritas de Luana, o sea, ¿qué les pasa? A mí en todo lugar no me gustan las ternuritas de Luana. En mi primer video, yo soy Ebra Saúl López Alcaraz y voy a subir mi primer video.
As you can see, the crucifix in the background begins to move for what seems like no reason at all.
Alcaraz y voy a subir mi primer video.
It takes a few seconds for the boy to notice what's happening, but when he does, he freaks out and runs. The clip then just cuts out. The comment section was divided on this one. Some said it was nothing more than fishing wire, while others thought it was a little more significant than that, calling it a sign from Christ himself. These are obviously two very different opinions, so I'll throw this one out to you, the viewers. Where do you sit on this, hoax or holy? Let me know down below.
Yo soy Ebra Saúl López Alcaraz y voy a subir mi primer video.
Not much is known about the Benito Juarez School. It was built in 1954 and sits on a very secluded parcel of land out in the middle of nowhere. After a period of mismanagement, the school experienced a rapid decline, ultimately becoming abandoned and almost forgotten. Locals who know about the school try to avoid it altogether. They say it's heavily haunted by spirits and dark shadowy figures that roam around at night time. As Navarro explores the old buildings, we can see what kind of state it's been left in.
Todo lo que mira nomás está. Esta sí está abierta.
Then, while taking a look in one of the former classrooms, something eerie happens. Watch.
Puro pinche pedo, no hay ni madres a la verga. Ay, ay, ay.
Watching that again, a plank of wood seems to move all by itself. Then the door to the room just closes. This startles Navarro, who starts to breathe heavily. Perhaps there's some truth to the local legends after all. Unsettled, the OP makes his way out of the room when things take a turn for the worse. Take a look at what happens. It can be hard to see at first, but if we play that back in slow motion and brighten up the image, we can see a face peering out from around the corner of the building. Navarro runs off into the night before the clip abruptly ends.
Well, I'll give my opinion, save your voice. Yeah, the first one, it could be fish wire. It could be divine intervention. Sorry?
Could be magnets.
Could be magnets. Unless this kid is some kind of kid that's interested in cinematography and is messing around, it could very well be original. He seemed to be quite freaked out by it, so he could be a good actor. So I would keep open about this. What I do know is that Spirit, it doesn't necessarily have to be Christ that's doing that, but Spirit will use whatever tools are available to get through to the person according to their consciousness. The second
There's
one,
one
sorry,
thing.
yeah.
One thing I just want to point out here, Mike. The way that crucifix was moving, you could tell that it wasn't just wobbling like it was unbalanced.
Right,
So there was definitely something going on there,
right.
whether it was paranormal or not.
Yeah. As for the second one, well, the only thing that I'm dubious about is that his being frightened seemed to not be genuine with his cries, you know. It just didn't seem real. But then again, piece of wood flying around, could be fishing wire. And I do believe that the school may very, very well be haunted, but I don't know if that is indeed the school. So I'd have to keep an open mind about that.
They say it's a face, but I slowed it down. I can't see a face in there,
I
Mike.
couldn't see anything. And that's predictive programming. I couldn't see anything, but it was quite interesting. And the question I always ask is, if you're going to be that frightened, why the hell are you going there in the first place? Would you expect to see a friendly ghost saying, come in, sit down, have a chat? You know, if you're going to be that terrified, you shouldn't be doing this. Because a paranormal researcher should go in there with no preconception. And clearly that man does have a precondition that he was there. So.
You know, and, you know, that's where I call them amateurs, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, I've discussed this previously. They're amateurs in the fact that they are trying to be professional when they're not. They want to get the views or the hours or whatever, playing with the big boys that know what they're doing, but they don't know. No. So that's where they've got to stay humbled and learn what they're doing and get rid of ego is the biggest thing. You know, whenever you go out, you've got to leave your ego at the door because, and you know, which is our emotions. So, you know, that was a very amateur video, you know, because to me that was hardly anything happening.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
You know, I've had a car engine thrown at me, you know, that could have killed me, that sort of stuff. And I just stood there and watched it thinking, don't hit me, don't hit me. And it landed just in front of me, you know, because I just don't have emotion. You know, I've done a couple of videos on my YouTube where there's noises in the house or things like my door will open or something. And I just look and I think, who was that? You know, but I keep going with the video because there's no emotion there because I've learned, especially here in my house, because there is a lot of activity here that, you know, you just can't freak out every time you see it or else, you know, I'd be on Valium 24/7, you know.
Yeah, well, I've done my share of all that. I won't be doing it again. So, anyway.
It's all good. Okay, so where are we going?
We go to Charlotte Warburton, the reincarnation or time slip of Charlotte Warburton. Very interesting one. Here we go.
One morning on 18th of June 1968, an elderly lady by the name of Charlotte Warburton was out shopping with her husband in the town of Tunbridge Wells in Kent, UK. At one stage, the couple decided to split up and would meet up later. Charlotte was searching for a particular brand of coffee that she was unable to purchase at a normal grocer's and walked into what she believed was a supermarket in Calverley Road. As she entered the premises, she noticed a small coffee shop on the left-hand side and thought it strange because she had never noticed it previously and had been there many times before. As she looked around, she noticed that it was rather old-fashioned with wood-panelled walls. It looked like an old-fashioned cafe with antique decor. There were no windows at all, and the room was lit up by light bulbs that had frosted shading. As Charlotte continued to observe her surroundings, at the time she thought nothing odd. However, there were two women seated at a table that had rather long dresses, whilst about a dozen men that were seated at the rear of the cafe were all dressed in dark lounge suits. All the people were casually chatting and drinking what appeared to be coffee, but other than that, it appeared to be a normal sight in a country town. Charlotte then checked the clock, which was showing 11 a.m. Having seen enough and realising she was not going to purchase her coffee in this establishment, Charlotte casually exited the premises, thinking nothing more about what she'd just seen, and for some particular reason failed to question why the people were dressed in what appeared to be old-fashioned clothing. However, she did wonder why she could see all the clientele talking, yet she could not hear any sounds, which was highly unusual as the cafe environment is usually quite noisy. Another question arose in her mind as to why she could not smell the coffee she believed they were drinking, the food they were consuming, or cigarette smoke. Charlotte actually questioned her own senses rather than what she'd just observed. Yet without questioning the circumstances in which she found herself, Mrs. Warburton left the cafe and went to meet her husband, and did not even mention her strange encounter to him. The next time Charlotte and her husband came to town, she remembered the cafe and decided to take him there and treat themselves to a hot beverage and snack. As they reached the location that Charlotte remembered, they then entered the supermarket and after making inquiries as to where the cafe was, were told that there was no cafe there and they must be in the wrong building. Charlotte decided to ask around and learned that the Cosmos refreshment rooms had once stood on the side of where the supermarket now stands, and it had a small cafe. They were then directed to the Tunbridge Wells Constitutional Club, where the steward told them that at one time the club had owned the premises adjoining the Cosmos, which was now incorporated into the supermarket. The club had had an assembly room in those days, which included a small bar with tables for refreshments. Mrs. Warburton's description compared exactly with the club's old refreshment room. However, she was told that the bar in the assembly room had existed some 150 years previously and had disappeared many years ago. Yet for some strange reason, on the 18th of June 1968, Charlotte had somehow stepped back into the past and had been caught in a time slip.
Interesting, huh?
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Now that we've had a look at a few of these time slips,
Yeah.
have you noticed that they're always in the past?
Mm.
So my theory that I'm going to propose here tonight is that these are actually like residual energies.
Mm.
Like, you know, when you have a ghost that
Yeah.
like is a recorder where it replays over and over, you'll hear the same footsteps at the same time every day. This could be one of the theories that why this phenomena occurs, because when people go back, you know, they're walking down a street and they come to an old shop from say 50 years ago.
Yeah.
It could be that residual energy where it's still hanging around, even though now in like 2022 it's changed into a supermarket or something like what happened in this one. So it could be that it's an imprint or it's an impression of the past energy that was there. Because we've always got to remember something like people are not the only things that make residual energies.
No.
Horses, cattle, you know, there's a cow in America that's a famous cow. I wish I remembered the story because I've read about it before. It walks across the paddock every night at the same time. You hear it's, you know, cow hooves are very prominent.
Yeah.
And it's a residual energy of this cow. So there's no intelligence to it.
No.
So, but the thing is, we've got these people in these places where they can interact with these other people that comes through from the time displacement. But it's an interesting one. So what are your thoughts on it, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you that a lot of these time slips can actually be a residual energy, but clearly the person who's experiencing that residual energy has to be a trigger. So there's something about their energy, their vibration, and the circumstance at the time.
Like I was saying before, when we connect with others around the planet by thinking about somebody that we've been.
Yeah.
So there has to be that energetic connection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we look at spirits. When do they come through? They come through for someone that they've loved because there's still that connection of energy.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, of course, these people, you know, if we delved into these time slips, there would have to be something there that there is a connection to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the final point here is it's interesting that she couldn't smell the coffee or the cigarettes, because coffee is quite a potent smell, beautiful, love the smell of coffee, and yet she couldn't smell anything. That might suggest it's residual, because when we had that time slip where the people were in France and they paid the bill with real money and received change with real money, and you know, they communicated with the police dressed in old uniforms, that more than likely was an actual time slip or a crossing of dimension. This where no money was exchanged, or you couldn't smell the smoke or the coffee, most likely is a residual energy. Great experience, I might say, but
absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Makes me want to have one. I
Super.
want to have one so I can investigate it further to try and delve into it and find out what happens. You know?
Be careful what you
Well,
wish for, Linda.
absolutely. I know. It's
So,
all good. It's all good.
moving on. Betty's Miracle Rainbow Divine Intervention. Beautiful, beautiful story.
This is a lovely story. Yes.
So everyone should watch this and feel uplifted. Let's run this, and of course we see what we have to say.
Yep.
Early on a Tuesday evening, Betty was doing some household chores when a deceptively innocent event set a miracle in motion. As an abused child and product of a broken home, Betty was made a ward of the Midwestern state where she was born and raised. At age 5, she was placed in a series of foster homes while a lengthy court procedure determined her legal custody. The first people she was placed with was a childless couple she remembered only as Frank and Mary. They were the first loving mother and father she recalls. Though the authorities moved her to other foster homes and she lost all contact with Frank and Mary, the memories of those happy times never left, especially her young foster mother's words of faith and hope.
The clouds must burst and rain, my dear, before we see the rainbow clear.
I love rainbows, Miss Mary.
Well, sometimes we have to go through a storm first to get to the things we really like. Then everything is all better again.
Over the next few days, Betty experienced something that's happened to us all. Sometimes with a song lyric or a phrase or simply a musical tune, it sticks in our mind and plays over and over like a broken record. For Betty, it was the remembered words of her foster mother.
The clouds must burst and rain, my dear, before we see the rainbow clear.
Betty tried to dismiss the repeated recollection, but days passed and it still stuck with her. Sometimes, just when she thought it wouldn't return, there would be an encounter that pushed it to the front of her mind again.
Bobby, how can you eat those things?
Next week's schedule's in, Euro. The 6th and 7th. Any problem with that?
Let's see, the 6th and the 7th?
The clouds must burst and rain, my dear.
Any problems?
Before we see the rainbow clear.
No, the 6th and 7th are fine.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just got this thing about rainbows keeps popping up. Can't seem to get out of my mind.
Well, it'll pass. Don't sweat it.
Officer? 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 I guess I must have rolled through that sign without stopping all the way. My mind must have been on something else. I'm sorry.
Well, there's a lot of traffic at this intersection. Let's try to be a little more careful next time.
Yes. Yes, I will. I'll do that. Thank you. For more than a week, it seemed like everywhere Betty went, everywhere she looked, it was rainbows. She just couldn't clear her mind of it. She was beginning to think it had some larger meaning, but she hadn't a clue as to what it could be. 3 days later, events took another unexpected turn. An elderly couple traveling through Colorado pulled off the interstate. Before looking for a campground for the night, they decided to find a nearby laundromat to wash several loads of dirty clothes.
shouldn't take too long, about an hour, I think.
If you're going to be a while, I'm going to try to get a nap in, I guess.
Don't forget to lock the door.
Okay.
At 2:30, Betty was scheduled to pick up paperwork at the courthouse. Although she knew the way, practically blindfolded, she had inexplicably taken a wrong turn. Betty pulled over to wait for traffic to clear so she could turn around. Once again, she had an unexpected encounter with another rainbow.
You were looking so much better. They tell me you're going to be fine. Have you been behaving yourself?
Hello again. The nurse tells me you're doing just fine today.
Just a little too much smoke in my lungs.
He is doing just fine, thanks to you.
Well, we're just lucky I happened by when I did. I'm not usually on that street.
Like you say, there's usually a reason for these things.
Just another storm for us to weather, that's all. The clouds must burst and rain, my dear.
Before we see the rainbow clear. I didn't get your names yesterday.
I'm Frank Mayer, and this is...
Mary.
How did you... Frank, it's our Betty. He missed you so much. It is you, isn't it?
They took you away from us.
We've missed you so much. Oh, it's so wonderful.
She's a policeman.
Miracles take place where timing and events inexplicably fall together. Beyond probability, but clearly not without reason.
Got me all emotional there. Beautiful story, divine intervention, perfect timing. Happens when it happens. Not much more you can say.
I'll tell you what happened, Mike.
Yeah.
I go up on Sundays every week to buy food for my daughter for the school week. For some reason, this week on Sunday, I bought pikelets, which are like little pancakes. You put strawberry jam or Nutella or something on it and you eat it like a little pancake. So today, I got given a packet of pikelets.
Right.
And I sat there when I got these pikelets just today, and I thought, I haven't bought pikelets in months, so why did I buy them just on Sunday? And we've just finished that packet yesterday, so we're ready now for new ones. And, you know, there's theories, like with this story with Betty. And one that I'd like to pose forward is... Sorry, because I'm sucking on a soother because my throat's off. Please forgive me, guys, okay? But did I know that I was going to get pikelets today on Wednesday, and that is why I was thinking about them on Sunday to go and buy them?
Right.
Like this lady, was she noticing all the rainbows because she knew on this particular day in her future that she would see this rainbow laundromat where this event was going to happen.
Yeah.
So when we look at premonitions, like, because that's what this sort of is.
It is really, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a premonition where are we aware of our life contracts, what we're going to do in our lives? And you say, oh yeah, this person's going to be at this particular place at this time, so we'll give you the inkling before then, so you remember to do it on that day. So, there's a lot of possibilities, Mike.
Yeah.
But I was only just thinking today about the pikelets, because I haven't bought them for months. And they're in a particular section of the supermarket, so it's not somewhere where they're always right there in front of me.
Sure, yeah.
So I had to go out of my way to get them on Sunday because I just had pikelets in my brain.
Right,
yeah. And then here today I get given a packet, so it's really weird. How did I know on Sunday that this was going to happen today? So it's like a premonition.
Yeah.
And she had that inkling not to go on the same road that she even said, oh, this isn't the road that I'm usually on.
Exactly, yeah.
So what made her go down that road that she doesn't usually take?
Yeah.
To be at that specific time, at that specific place, in that synchronicity, not only did she save him, but to be there when that lady, Mary, when Mary said that first part of the line, so she would finish it.
Yeah.
So many synchronicities at play in that. Wow.
I mean, I think we all have these synchronicities, and they're not necessarily sort of eureka moments like they experienced. For example, when I was in London and I was driving home, quite often, inexplicably, I would take another route home. Now, there was nothing in the headlines or I didn't meet anyone, but you just don't know if you avoided an accident or...
You don't know if you were going to cause or be part of that accident. That's why it didn't occur, and that's why it's not in the newspaper.
Yeah. So it's all to do with perception. And, I think the thing is just to be aware of that. Oh, I've taken a different route today. Okay, and be aware of it. So...
Yes.
Okay, well, last story. The very emotional, suicidal NDE of Jason. Great NDE and very courageous man to pour his heart out like this. So let's have a listen, eh?
Can I just do a quick little walk-in first, guys? If this does trigger you, please reach out to somebody. Go and talk to a professional if this does in any way upset you at all, okay? Because we are talking suicide in this one.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I was in a dorm room, and in my dorm room, in order to maximize space, we had lofts. We had built this wooden structure. So I had that much room between my face and the ceiling is what it boiled down to. We had couches down below. And I took... I'm pretty sure I bought a 96 pack of Unisom, an over-the-counter sleeping agent, and another, it wasn't 96, but it was like the 48 pack or whatever it was. Took them all, went up on my bed, and was ready to die. And it was really interesting. I felt my body shut down. I felt... Is from my feet up, I could feel my body kind of turning off, and I was ready. It's important to know that I was in a room this far from the ceiling in the corner. So as I'm laying on my back, there's a wall to my left, and then there's a ceiling overhead. Because I distinctly recall, I can hear it in my head today, like this close to my ear, this close. It was a female voice, and it whispered in my ear, "I forgive you." And that was the first time I'd ever heard something like that. I had therapy before. I had so much. And I don't know who it was or what it was, but I needed that. I forgive you. So what do I do then? Because I'm on a bed and my body's shutting down and I was ready to die. And I lurched myself off. I couldn't even make my body, had a ladder going up. I couldn't make my body work the ladder. I fell off the bed. And I called a friend. And I just said, I need you to come over. I need you to come sit with me. And I don't remember if I said what I did. I don't remember. I do know that she stayed with me in my room and she just did her homework, and I started to wake up and work through it. But I call that an angel. It's another reason why I've got to make my life worth something. Because if all that can happen, and if I try to kill myself and it just didn't work, I got to be here for something.
So, there we are. Very emotional one, that. Very courageous guy. And what I like about this is that he said, you know, with all this happening, and he still got through it, my life has got to be worth something. So, yeah.
You know, it wasn't until that day I was at the library, Mike, and I heard the lady, just like he said, standing just off beside me. My ears pricked to the noise of where she was. Like a cat, my ears pricked. It was a pretty jaw-dropping moment when we realised that these entities are always watching us. Yeah. It's only ourselves that doesn't hear them. They are always with us. And then when I sat down and I thought, she was with me at this point. She was with me at this point. And then she was there with me at that point of my life. Like when I was on the plane. But it all pieced together. And I've got to be honest, I didn't cry like this man did.
Yeah.
But it's still that epiphany that these beings, you know, it's very humbling when we work out that, you know, who are we? We're just bits of DNA and jelly made up of emotional wrecks of emotion. Yeah. And these beings are just so patient, understanding and compassionate towards us that they do come in when we need them to let us know that they're with us.
Yeah.
You know, and even when we don't get their messages, we've still got to trust that they're still there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we all do have a life contract. So we do have to remember that even, you know, sometimes bad things must occur to us that they can't intervene with, because it's part of our journey of our learning curve to what we've got to go through to appreciate it at the end of the day. Beautiful story.
Okay, Linda.
I'm just,
you're suffering, so we can ease your suffering, and we can call it an early night today. So
thank you so much, Mike.
So everyone, listen, if you have an NDE or any paranormal experience, deathbed visions, I don't know, time slip, reincarnation story, we really want to hear from you. So please let us know. We can either read it out, you can come on and talk about it for just 5, 6, 7 minutes, just the nuts and bolts, and we'll put something together nice for you. So, yeah. On that note, Linda, we shall say goodbye.
And I'm just commenting my email address if anyone does wish to contact me regarding a story that we can have on the show.
Super. Okay, everyone. I'll wait for Linda to get that up, and then we shall say.
I made some typos. to go back and, look, I did make some typos in there because I'm trying to watch you as well as
Yeah,
type.
yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right,
Thank you
everyone.
so much, everybody, for being here. Hopefully next week I'm going to be feeling a lot better.
I'm sure you will. Yeah.
Talk soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.